Welcome to the dumbest smart guy podcast on the planet. This is the Central Unintelligence Podcast. Oh, yeah. Welcome, everyone, once again to a brand new episode of the Central Unintelligence Podcast. My name's Josh. I'm here today with good buddy Adam, who's currently taking a piss, and he left his microphone on, so luckily for you, I muted it so you can't hear him. But if you're into that kind of thing and you want us to do that, you can drop us a line on Instagram or TikTok at Game Rage Magazine, Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag, and you can go ahead and tell us you want to hear Adam pissing, and I'll let that bitch ride. I don't give a fuck. Anyways, today we're going to talk about finally the Middle East is now getting spicy. I mean, I say finally like it's a good thing, but it's really not. But I'm just saying finally, Iran stopped blueballing us with doing something to Israel. Israel stopped blueballing everybody with saying that they were going to invade Lebanon or go into Lebanon or do shit in Lebanon. And now that's been happening all this week. So we're going to talk about that. Now, before we do, though, I just have to say that if you want to listen to other podcasts of ours, that you can go to YouTube, Game Rage Magazine, like, comment, subscribe. And as I said earlier, you can follow on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine, Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag. Additionally, if you want to listen to Adam be the oracle of music, you can go to All Gas No Trash Official on Instagram. And you can also follow our good buddy Frank at anime_syndicate_podcast on Instagram. All right. That'll do it for the plugs. So, real quickly to recap the things that have happened basically this week or in the last week or thereabouts. Israel decided they were going to go into Lebanon. They were actually going to attack and do a bunch of shit. They've been blowing shit up in there for like the last week.
Killing leaders.
Killed all the leaders of Hezbollah. Sent in some, ground troops, and they're kind of doing like a ground invasion type thing, but it's not like all the way.
All right. So I don't know the layout because I'm trying to remember like the Middle East.
Yeah.
But I could kind of picture where Israel is to where Iran is, but the countries in between geographically, I'm forgetting. Because it's Jordan,
Saudi Arabia. I think a part of Saudi Arabia is in between them. Hey, let's just pull up the map because why not?
So we could see how their movement is. Because
yeah,
there we go.
Okay, so you got Iraq. Oh yeah, so you got Syria. Well, yeah, here's Iran. So you got Syria, Jordan, technically parts of Saudi Arabia, even though it doesn't border Iran proper, but Iraq is the main,
right?
The main airspace that shit travels through.
Like Jordan is more or less the
immediate neighbor to the east.
The buffer between.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Jordan and Iraq are both the buffer to Iran.
Right. To a land invasion of Israel from the Iranians, they would have to go through Iraq and Jordan. So... Or they could go through Syria. I mean, who knows? But
it's probably worse.
Well, no, because probably. But Syria is all the terrorist groups there are sympathetic. Syria is essentially a failed state at this point. They don't really have a government.
I think so is Iraq too, isn't it?
Well, yeah, mostly. I mean, kind of, but not as bad as Syria. Syria is much worse. Well, Syria also has a fairly concentrated amount of Russian military assets as well.
Oh, okay.
Which is one of the things that was being floated around, is that the Israelis were also attacking Russian air bases in Syria because the Russians were storing shit that was en route to go to Iran there for some reason. So they hit the target cargo areas or whatever and did all that. While they were doing this whole Lebanon bombing campaign, they were blowing shit up there, killing a bunch of the leaders. They've killed the guy who was the number one of Hezbollah, and then the guy who took over. They supposedly now they've killed him too in strikes. So it's very it's getting very intense over there, especially because Iran finally then responded to all this and launched several hundred missiles, including the hypersonic missiles that they got from Russia. And supposedly, again, both sides lie and say that Iran says that they did a whole bunch of damage and blew up a bunch of F-35s that were grounded. Israel says that two of the 200 missiles that they shot actually got through, but they landed in areas that didn't cause any damage or whatever. So that's whatever. Who knows who to believe? But I mean, I've seen video of some of those hypersonic missiles actually making impact and hitting at military base targets that are inside Israel that Iran shot at. So who knows what the actual number is, but it seems like some of them are effective. It seems like supposedly the hypersonic missiles can mostly defeat the Iron Dome system for some reason. Maybe they're just traveling too fast. I don't know. But that's kind of been what's happening. Israel has said that they are going to respond to the attack that Iran did again. And they've been saying things over the last few hours, such as,
we're going to fucking kill you.
that they are going to pay a heavy price. The heavy price, it will be swift. It's imminent. It will be very strong and painful. And all that sort of stuff. Putin has essentially called all Russian citizens to leave Israel immediately.
Or else you're going to fall out a fucking window.
Yep, you're going to fall out a fucking window and get stabbed with a nuclear fucking umbrella radiation tip. I do think that this is where shit's going to start getting real spicy, because Russia has supposedly been pissed off that the Israelis struck at their area that they were in control of in Syria and blew up some stuff. Granted, it wasn't directly their shit because it was shit they were just holding for Iran, or they were going to transfer to Iran. So it kind of wasn't like something that they really should be that pissed off about, but it just shows you, hey, we have the capability to do this. You guys should just, fucking, if you want to keep helping Iran, just watch your shit, because we might come for your shit here in the Middle East that you have. So Russia telling everyone to leave Israel that's a Russian citizen, to me, that's one of the first indications that they are looking at potentially either Iran is going to do something to Israel, or Russia may even support or partially be involved in whatever is going to happen.
That's cool, because then that just...
that just lets us jump in and fuck up Russia. Like, then we get to go full bore in the Ukraine. We get to go full bore into Russia. Like, nobody's going to give a fuck.
It's dividing their fucking efforts and resources.
It works out better in our favor if this happens. The way this might play out. But Israel has said that they are going to respond to this, and they said if Iran responds to this is how you muddy it gets, right? If Iran responds to Israel's response to Iran's attack and attacks anything important or anything at all, if they respond at all to the attack, Israel says that every option is on the table, including striking nuclear sites in Iran. Okay, that Israel will strike nuclear sites inside of Iran.
I don't doubt it, man, especially with those fucking pagers.
Oh, yeah.
They probably have the mechanisms to do that in real quick fashion.
Probably. Iran also says that in Israel's response to their attack, if Israel strikes any of our oil infrastructure, we are going to strike oil infrastructure in every country in the Middle East. We're going to strike Saudi Arabia's oil infrastructure. We're going to strike any oil infrastructure in Afghanistan, Iraq, Jordan, Syria, Yemen.
Wait, so why would they do that to Syria? I mean, they're not technically like an ally. I don't know if they were an ally or not, but...
Not really. Well, again, Jordan's been very outspoken. Saudi Arabia's been outspoken and helped us stop missiles from coming in. So Iran is going to look at it, Iran is going to look at it and say, okay, cool. If you hit any of our infrastructure shit, because we need to send a message to pain of America. So if we start fucking with oil production capability, that makes the price of gas go up everywhere and oil go up everywhere, right? Because a lot of people don't realize this, but 20% of all the world's oil comes from this, has to go through this area, the Persian Gulf, through the Strait of Hormuz, out through the Gulf of Oman. That's where 20% of the entire world's gasoline or oil product comes from. So if you remove that or remove a large chunk of that, it's going to immediately send the price through the roof. If 20% of because a lot of the theory that I have come up with is Iran actually controls this Strait of Hormuz. I think we did an episode on about this before, where Iran actually, their navy does control this Strait of Hormuz area. And so they could shut it off. But why shut it off so then only you can send out? If you do that and you also fucking, because they'll figure out a way to get it out. They'll go over here through the fucking Red Sea. God damn it. Or they'll come out through the Gulf of Aden. They'll figure out how to get shit out. But if you strike the infrastructure that they have to pull the oil out of the ground and the storage capability, now you've truly taken that 20% of oil that comes out of there off the market. Because that's going to be the most painful thing to do to hurt America or to hurt Israel and anyone allied with Israel is to make the cost of oil go up. Now, we could just start turning on production here because technically we could make more oil on a per daily basis than the entire Middle East could if we turned it on and let it actually fucking go.
Why use our shit?
Right. Our shit's being saved for when, why pull it out of the ground when you could just save it for a rainy day when something like this would happen?
Yeah.
So we could do it if we so chose. I think this is going to be the next move that I think Israel's going to make, is that they are going to strike vital infrastructure targets within Iran. I think that's what they're going to do. I think that Israel is ready to conduct some sort of major war against Iran. I don't think that they are going full bore into Lebanon and into the Gaza Strip or into Syria yet, because I think that they are kind of anticipating that there will be some sort of ground invasion by Hezbollah if they strike Iran and fuck them up pretty good. And so they're going to need some defenses to fucking take care of that. So I have a feeling that that's probably how it's going to go down. If you look at Hezbollah, one of the things that was very interesting that I found I didn't know about Hezbollah is actually the majority party of the government in fucking Lebanon. Like, they hold the most parliament seats. Like, Hezbollah is basically like a political party. So then we get into this weird philosophical discussion at this point.
A religious, right?
Yeah, they're like the religious, like they're like one of the political parties or whatever, technically. So,
because Ayatollah is like the
Ayatollah is the leader of Iran, and he's kind of like, I'm going to fuck this up. I don't remember if they're Sunni or Shia Muslim, but basically the Ayatollah is like the Pope of whichever one of those that he is involved with.
Okay.
So I do think that Israel attacking and going into Hezbollah or going to Lebanon, which technically is a sovereign country, that is problematic because technically the government, whether it was a fair and free election or not, I mean, I probably think it mostly was because they slowly took all these seats or whatever. So it's kind of like, if you're attacking the party of the official government of the sovereign nation, that's this like weird philosophical discussion of like, okay, well, it's not really a terrorist organization because technically it is an officially democratically quote unquote elected parliament or whatever they have. And it's just kind of like, well, how does that give you the right to go in and fucking just start taking their shit out?
It's easy because anything that's put up against Israel as far as international law goes for war crimes. Well, the fucking U.S. is like, yeah, so what? Veto.
Yeah, well, it'll never happen, right? But like, that's the question that still comes up. I think is who is Israel to say? Because again, if Mexico decided that they didn't like the way our government was treating them, we're going to invade and we're going to declare the United States government a terrorist organization, and then we're going to invade. We're going to call the Republican Party a terrorist organization, and then we're going, they're the majority party in the country, so we're going to start bombing things and whatever, and then go after them because we recognize them as a terrorist group.
Yeah.
So, I mean, granted, yes, Hezbollah is a terrorist group. They do terrorist things, but we get into that philosophical argument of like, who are they to say that you can't also be a government, or if you're the democratically elected government, who's to say that who has the right to come in and take you out? Basically, no one does at that point. If you think about it,
the fucking U.S. does.
The U.S. Well, we have the right to do anything we want. Like we have the right to do whatever the fuck we please. That's how we operate. Also, Iran potentially also being in possession of nuclear weapons. That's the big narrative that's been being pushed since the beginning of this whole thing. When Iran got involved, is that Iran is likely to have nuclear weapons, and so
that's probably no secret.
No, it's not. And Israel has made it very, I mean, it again, talk about some Oracle shit. There was an article that came out last week that talked about exactly what I was talking about like 4 or 5 months ago with, Iran has been supplying the drones and shit to Russia. I guarantee you that Russia has been sharing secrets with how to make nuclear weapons. And then just like a month ago, we talked about that thing where Russia sent their Iskander missile system there. They sent them a bunch of them. It's that truck-mounted missile system that is nuclear warhead capable. So I guarantee you Russia's been telling them and teaching them how to make nuclear weapons with what they got and giving them the secrets to the technology in exchange for all these drones and all this shit and the support they've been providing. It makes perfect fucking sense. And so Israel has made it clear that all options are on the table, and that includes the nuclear option. And if they have said if they feel an existential threat to themselves, they will use every single available means of defense that they have, up to and including nuclear weapons. So if Israel hits some shit, Iran class bats and start hitting some other shit in other countries, and maybe even sets up to launch a major offensive or assault against Israel, this is where we could get to see some nukes go off. We could get to see Iran do it, because if Iran gets fucking hit in their oil infrastructure and then they get pissed off, well, who's to say they won't fucking launch a nuke at Tel Aviv or one of their nuclear weapons at some other, location inside of Israel? It's very plausible at this point for that to happen. I'm not saying it's extremely possible, but it's very plausible. So I think that this is definitely a situation that is going to have global not complications. I mean, it will have global complications, but global implications. And this turning into not just being a regional war. If Iran and Israel go at it, they're not gonna. It's not gonna just be a maintained regional war. What?
He's like eating his ass.
Yeah, he's licking his balls or whatever. He's a fucking dog. That's what he's crazy.
He's cobbing.
Yeah, he's a communist. But anyways, that's where I think it's at right now. And that's what I think is the future for this. I'm not 100% sure if nuclear weapons will be used. It seems like if any time it's going to be used, it seems like this is going to be the place they're going to use them. And I was telling a buddy of mine yesterday, we were talking about this, and I just said, if they are going to do it, I just hope we can get like some 4K footage of a nuclear bomb going off.
Yeah, that'll be fucking wild to see.
That will be one of the wildest things to see, is
people getting
evaporated.
Yeah,
because of but just there's so many cameras everywhere, and everybody's got an iPhone and shit with the 4K camera. I just if it's gonna happen and it's gonna lead to whatever the fuck, nuclear World War III, I would at least just like to see one video of the shit in like legit 4K. I don't want to see it in black and white. I want to see it in color.
1960s shit or 1940s shit.
Yeah, so I guess we'll get that probably. But anyways, I don't know. You got anything to say about this situation?
No, I think it's continued posturing from both sides to talk about, oh yeah, we're gonna fucking get to the nuclear level. Nobody wants to get to that point. I don't think anybody actually will.
I don't think anybody wanted to get to the point that they're at right now.
That's true.
And yet somehow we're here.
I just don't know what's gonna happen as far as other countries getting involved. Like because if it becomes something, because god damn it, Israel just provoked so many more problems by instigating this shit that I don't know how many more enemies they created by just sending these missiles and well, how do I word it? I don't know how many problems they created out of the stuff with Palestine, and also how many more people they did a disservice, or how much of a disservice they did to themselves by giving these pagers and like having them explode and shit. And also,
and that's the other thing that we found out was that supposedly it wasn't just like they intercepted the pagers. Mossad created a whole fake ass company
to do it
that makes pagers, and they partnered with some company in Taiwan to make the pagers. And they had been making pagers and sending them out to people who use pagers.
Oof.
So like it wasn't just this one thing with Hezbollah. They were doing legitimate business with other multiple entities that still use pagers to again make it seem like they're just legit.
Yeah, but how would that work? Because if it's obvious it's going to Iran, it's like, all right, we're gonna put some fucking C4 in it. But if it's going to India first, and then it's like, oh well, Iran actually wants it. You know, it's like they're having one other person to change hands over it, so it's like it doesn't get C4 on it or something. But then they didn't see it coming
what they did is they had all the shit shipped to them, and then they fulfilled the order and had it delivered from wherever they were at. And so, or whatever the proxy that they used. So during that time when they were shipped from Taiwan, they didn't have any of the shit in them. It was sent over, and they were specifically built with a specific section so you could add plastic explosives, and then when you would receive a certain text or a character of numbers or whatever, it would tell this little electrical line that was plugged into it to send electricity, and then it would detonate the C4 or whatever the fuck was in there, whatever plastic explosive they used.
Right. All right.
So that's what's crazy. But they did and this is the other thing. Since they were operating as a regular pager company and they were sending out pagers to other clientele, what's to say they didn't do that anyways? What's to say they didn't put that in there in those anyways? What's to say that Israel doesn't fucking open up its own like Verizon store and then just take all the cell phones and just put all the C4 on all the cell phones?
Yeah.
And then anybody's cell phone could turn into a fucking goddamn C4 brick.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, shit. Well, anyways, as far as like them doing that and also killing the leaders of Hezbollah, man, fucking A, they've really entrenched, they've really dug in their feet about what they're gonna do about this shit. And yeah, like they kind of flex their nuts and now we gotta find out like where the line is, but also who's gonna be standing on the other side of it. If it's just gonna be fucking Iran, or is it also gonna be Syria? Is it also gonna be, I mean, I don't know what other enemies they can create out there, but I guess we're gonna find out soon enough.
Yeah, there's a lot of enemies they can create because there's a shit ton. There's a shit ton that they already have. Like creating them wasn't even an issue. They already had them since the beginning.
Yeah.
So,
but the ones that are gonna immediately do something about.
Oh yeah. I mean, who knows what the real number is on that? But anyways, that's pretty much it for the update on the shit that's been going on. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this, and obviously we will provide you with more updates as it happens. We took like a little hiatus for like a week and a half, so with at least like CUP. I don't think it's been a week since.
It's been like 10 days.
Yeah, it's been like 10 days since we put the last episode. It's like a week and a half. I was right. So we took a little hiatus from this one. We're going to go back to doing this one at least obviously once a week. So especially now that shit's been happening in the Middle East and it's getting spicier. So we'll probably end up doing this one at least 2 times a week, maybe even 3 times a week. Who the fuck knows, depending on how quickly or whatever shit happens. But anyways, you got anything else?
Game Rage prevails.
Yep, Game Rage prevails. If you want, you can follow us on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube at Game Rage Magazine. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine, Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag. What, is he still eating his asshole? Okay, weirdo. You can follow Adam at All Gas No Trash Official on Instagram, and you can follow our good buddy Frank at anime_syndicate_podcast. All right.
It's like he's getting mad at his own leg. He's like,
Fuck you, leg. I'm going to eat you. I mean, he does have like those chicken thigh fucking type legs, those drumstick legs, man. He probably got some good meat on there.
Yeah. Cannibalism. Brought to you by Game Rage Magazine.
Indeed. So, anyways, that'll do it for us. We'll catch you guys on the next one. And hopefully you have all of your fingers and toes and not any extra ones because of the nuclear radiation. And, yeah.
That was the latest episode of the Central Unintelligence Podcast. Don't forget, subscribe and like on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine. We're also on Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag. Also our website, www.GameRageMagazine.com.